Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ask Dawn and Donna. I'm Donna, and that's Dawn. Hi, Dawn. So, Dawn is in her vehicle today. She's getting ready to make a major move on the end of the month. So, we want to talk about boundaries. And why I say talk about her move is because that's also like sometimes people think of boundaries as like constricted. Sometimes, like, I have to have this certain wall and you can't pass this way, or they need to
We
pull
call
in.
that OC in my family.
Yeah.
With white towels and everything is perfect, and I don't fit that mold, let me tell you. But go on, I'm listening.
So the boundary sometimes is like, oh, I need my boundaries, so I need to have a wall. I need to have this thing to protect me. But sometimes you need to expound your boundaries. Sometimes having no boundary and having that is a boundary. So it's really, boundaries is like kind of also, we talked about in one of our other videos, catchphrases of like the woo. Boundaries is one of them, but what does that mean really, like, and how is it applicable and why is it important? So there's a few boundaries, obviously, for safety. If with the Me Too movement and everything with Black Lives Matter and everything, like, yes, you need to have your voice so someone doesn't physically, mentally, or emotionally hurt you, for sure. And that's a boundary. But what that line is different for everyone else, how it gets crossed. And it can't be blanketed across the world because my boundaries are different than what Dawn's boundaries are, and everyone else has. So, like Dawn's boundary, she had this one situation where she was living. She needed to expand in order to have her life expand with her. So she needed to create a boundary that's actually pushed out other than pulled in. Because when she needed the pulled in boundary, she did that. And I've done that as well when I have, and your kind of boundaries are, it's not like a border or this thing. It's like, it needs to be flexible enough so it changes per situation. It just can't be like, this is rigid, because it doesn't really work that way, because we're people. We're not a home. We need, and for growth happens, just reassessing your boundaries is it's kind of a, everything that I hear, and maybe I only hear a certain way, but everything I heard is boundaries, like put up boundaries, make more boundaries, be this, be that. And it's more of a defensive, other than, hey, maybe your boundary just needs to be that you open up and love everyone more. Maybe your new boundary is that you smile to people, like, it's a
concept.
it's a word, but it's what you want. So how I define it loosely is, it's what I'm willing to accept and what I want to bring into my life. So if I want to be closed and curmudgeon, then my boundary is going to reflect that. If I want to be,
I love that word.
open,
I love crotchety. I'm crotchety old lady. Yeah, I love that one too. Yeah.
and if I want some love in my life, then I need to expand my boundary to give the love. Like, I just can't sit here and be like, I want to be treated with love and respect and this and that, and everyone has to accept me and I will take nothing else for it. No, I have to also figure out what I don't accept in myself, and also what do I not accept in others, and really open that up. So then my boundary is that I'm loved and appreciated and adored by my close people, and I'm whatever with external. That's how I create a boundary. It's not, you have to treat me like this and nothing else. But that is like my
yes. Well, and doesn't that bring up the fine line that there's two major skills in life? There's the giving and the receiving of love. And there has to be a finite balance in that. So I like the word, I think the theme of this month is a lot of acceptance. Acceptance is accepting our differences, accepting our sameness, and being flexible in what that is. And again, leading with love is always the answer. Like, those that are repressed should, while they don't always like healthily explain or exhibit their emotions because they're so traumatized, that makes sense. I can hold space and understand that. But harming others or destroying properties or whatever isn't the right way to go about it either. So, you know, and yet I can still respect that level of angst that they've experienced forever. I mean, it's deep in their cells. And again, that's how our work, we can clear that shit, right? And replace it with the positive. And that is how the beauty of energy work is. And I like to say to clients that there's this lovely option on Facebook and your telephone. You don't have to answer your telephone. It can just ring. It can just ring. You get to decide who, when, what, where is in your life. And Facebook has this lovely option. I recommend it highly, the 30-day limit for, like, do not see this person for 30 days. Try that out on those people that every time you see something, you go, oh my God, right? Just block them for 30 days, trial it. And when they come back in your feed in 30 days and you think, oh, well, I missed that person, great. But most times you think, oh my God, they're at it still, then just delete them. It has a lovely delete block option. I have erased all relatives that aren't vibing with me. And I still love them. I'm still going to see them at Christmas. Do they need to see all my posts on Facebook? Probably not, because they don't get it. And that's okay, right? And it has added so much harmony into my life, right? And even building a small business and deciding on who is going to be your friend, and making those first contacts and connections, and supporting soul sisters and soul brothers, and asking for how they can return the favor. There's this amazing country singer out there. This beautiful man sent me the song. I loved it. I don't even listen to country. I created a song list around his thing, and I have a big mouth. I was going to share that shit. Did he even subscribe to our page? No. It's like, you know what? I don't even listen to country, dude. And I have a big mouth. So I was willing to share that. All he had to do was subscribe to our page. So it goes, like, it's a finite balance. So it's like when you're in every aspect, in your business, in your personal life, in your romantic life, in your family life, it's a balance. It's a delicate balance about boundaries. I mean, I love my sister unconditionally, but we are literally black and white. She sees black, I see white. We do not agree on most things ever. And I still love her unconditionally. She'd rather not see me. So that's okay. I know. I dream of that repairing with time, and I make the efforts, and that's okay. It's okay. It's okay that that's where she's at, and it's okay that I'm where I'm at. It's okay that I'm sure I wasn't the best human being ever in her childhood, but that's okay. That's okay too.
Well,
right?
I want to say one thing. Yes, it's definitely okay. And for boundaries too, that is kind of the tricky part. So once you decide that you need some or want some or whatever, the relationships aren't working for you or your life, like, you don't have to, but a good rule of thumb when you kind of are murking your way through this is maybe go to the extreme and the opposite for a little bit, to hold your space and to say no. And then the people around you, there's an adjustment phase. There's a kind of this chaotic, kind of messy phase where they're not used to you behaving in a certain way. So they kind of want the old way back. So there's a lot of, there
Mm.
could, depending on the relationship, there could be more or less friction depending on how your boundaries now affect their needs and what they want. So to kind of honor yourself, and it's a little,
Codependency.
yeah, but it's a little scary just to take any boundary because you don't really know how it's going to be. You have an idea of like, I want this, but the process between what you think is the end result and what really goes on in between is no one really tells you how kind of messy it can be. But just remind
Mm.
yourself like you're doing this for yourself, for growth. Growth is never
Never.
comfortable. I've never grown once that was
Or linear.
comfortable.
Or linear.
No. So, and then
Yeah.
keep reassessing like, okay,
I'd like to talk. Oh, sorry,
huh?
I'd like to talk about the uncomfortable conversations
Okay, just
because
1 second. Let me
my
just kind
yeah,
of
sorry,
finish.
go
So,
on.
so then once you're kind of have this new way of being and you feel confident that this is okay, I've done it, I've made these uncomfortable situations, I've made it through and we're still friends or we're still, sisters, and then you get to
Mm-hmm.
reassess and see, okay, like, well, do I still need this hard of a boundary, or can I be more loose with it, and is it gonna cost me anything? Because I there's always this fear like, oh, it's gonna cost me, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna be a doormat again, or whatever your thing is. But that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean that's true, because once you've kind of grown to another space, then maybe doing those things and having those same interactions is not going to get the same triggers in you because you've healed some things. So always reassessing where you are with your boundaries. Like if you decide to unfriend some people and just, or in life or on whatever, maybe you need that space for a while, but that doesn't mean that they have to be out forever. You can always
No.
circle back and create different boundaries based on what is needed then. So boundaries is such an ebb and flow, and it's uncomfortable, comfortable, uncomfortable, comfortable until you find your sweet spot. And then from there, it's still going to be a back and forth. It's never just this is what I do and that's it, because that could be a disservice to you as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
part, so you want to talk more about the uncomfortability? Go.
Well, the uncomfortability. Well, and isn't that a bit of the knight in a white horse ideology and the saving and the fixing and that getting married would make you perfect, that life would be perfect? And it's just not true. And that the work continues and that the ebb and flow of relationships is always a thing. And who you are in your growth and where you're at and where somebody else is, you know, I have blocked as many people as I have refriended, right? I say I am making up and breaking up on mass levels in this last year. So, my life is totally different. I have a whole group of new friends, supportive, amazing friends. I've reconnected with people from my past that mean more to me than ever, and living my best life. And the uncomfortable conversations. Now, it's so fascinating. My very divine girlfriend, who I'm moving into her basement suite, and she's been just amazing and has helped me so much. She's just amazing. She has the biggest heart of anybody I've ever known.
Oh.
And we've been having the funnest summer. And um, oh, I forgot my point. She had to fire the rental agency that was managing their basement suite. And I'm like, yeah, because they didn't get you anybody, and I'm going to move in. So there we go. And she hated having that conversation. So she needed the guarantee that I'm definitely taking the place. So we had some uncomfortable conversations, but then it was like, oh my God, okay. It's like I didn't even hear half of the gifts she was giving me. I didn't fully absorb all that, and now I do. And it's just like, and I just apologize for making her feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form, where I am very comfortable with uncomfortable conversations. And it's interesting, she and I used to work as a team together, managing a team of 60 respiratory therapists. And I'm like, oh yeah, you remember that conversation with so and so that where he was going to beat me up in the office? I said, I did that. She goes, yeah, I didn't do that. I'm like, yeah. And even we balanced each other out as a team, and we still really do. And our friendship is better than ever before. And so that web ebbs and flows. So, all of our relationships ebb and flow, and there's a sweet spot and there's the uncomfortable conversations. It's about like, nobody can make you feel something. However, you're allowed to have and honor your feelings in the moment. And you need to say, okay, this happened and I felt this, not the you made me feel this, but, you know, um, all I can think of, all that keeps coming into my brain is that I've had like a million first dates. I have had a million first dates, and I have not had a lot of second dates. And I am very, very decisive. It's like, I either like who you are and what you're putting out there, or I just don't. And the times I didn't listen to my intuition, I sure as the hell should have. And so I'm just very clear. You have to be very clear about what you want and who you are, what you're offering in the relationship. And isn't that the beauty of boundaries? Some people like to call after 10 p.m. Well, I've been going to bed at 9 because I'm exhausted because I'm moving. I've been doing a lot of shit. I've been managing my health. I've been getting injections. I've been getting boxes. I've been, I am like, I'm talking to you from my car today while my laundry is being folded, right? Like it's been a full circle moment, and I'm doing it all on my own. And I have divine friends and divine help, which is utterly amazing, which I couldn't have even counted on my hands or fingers a year ago. So,
Well, that's the
but
beauty
these
of,
are healthy boundaries and flexibility.
yeah, and the beauty of it is that you had the opportunity and the desire and the commitment to figure out what those were for you. It didn't just happen overnight. It just
No.
didn't decide this. There is a whole uncovering healing process, which is really uncomfortable. It's different for everyone, but the level of discomfort and the level of feelings that you have to go through to feel to get through this, where you can kind of uncover your true authentic self and have integrity for yourself and others, and how to show up as a better friend and have a relationship that works, in having the space and the bravery to discuss the relationship to make it so both people are happy in it. That takes a lot of self-awareness, and it's beautiful, but it's also messy to get to that point.
Yes.
So
yes. Well, and there's been a lot of crying. Let's talk about the crying. It's well known in the Soul Sister realm, where we talk about the crying on the bathroom floor moments, right? Like Elizabeth Gilbert in her Eat, Pray, Love moment, where she was like bawling on the bathroom floor. And every class, every session, every online, we all talk about that bawling on the bathroom floor moment. We have them all I've been crying quite a bit lately. It's been pretty rough. The search for a home in Vancouver is not easy. What people think is livable is not the same idea as my idea of livable. And I found my dream place and she gave it to somebody else. I had some feelings about that, right? It was just like, wow. And, but everything that is meant for you is always going to be there. And so it's just divinity. I'm supposed to live with my friends in their house and in their basement suites, and her lovely husband is helping me move and take apart my closet, organize. The gifts are endless. The gifts are endless, and it just feels so good. And that was the answer when I was searching, another place come up and I thought, oh, that's beautiful. And then I was like, here are these two human beings that love me so much, and she's willing to do anything to have me live in her basement suite. It's like, okay, what's hard about that answer? There's nothing hard about that answer. Isn't that the answer? If you lead with the love, if you follow the love, that is the answer every single time. So
yes, it is. It could take a little bit of a this way to get there, but the sticking in it and holding, like staying in the muck to get to the other side is really, I think, the true thing about boundaries is holding the space of what you want to hold the boundary, but then also to go through all the stuff to make you the person that you want that to be in that space where these boundaries are respected. And that the most gifted part is going through it yourself to untangle whatever's holding you back or presenting or whatever that is. So it's always in the growth,
well, and
in
we
the
can clear
uncomfortability.
that shit
Yeah.
in a session. We can clear that shit.
It does make, this work does make that being in it a little easier in the fact that it's not so overwhelming or intense, but you still go through the motions, but it just maybe doesn't feel so collapsing and so suffocating. So if you have any other questions for us that we would like, or topics that you would like us to talk about or answer privately, we have an email address, askdawnanddonna@gmail. And if you want to, you can subscribe to our videos or like them. And we just want to say thank you and let us know any comments you might have about boundaries or anything that we've said. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye, love. Have a great day.